Welcome you all to our discussion, and in our discussion I intend to talk about a book called The River Between. Now you may be aware that this book, The River Between, was written by Ngungu wa Thiong'o, and Ngungu wa Thiong'o is coming from Kenya, and in his intention of laying down the information in this book, of course like many more other literature books, the issue was of course to talk about the social, political and economic activities of Africans, and also much of the effects of colonialism and how it came to sit in Africa. But the direction that I take now is of course to talk about the social elements of this book. And so I know that there are so many themes in this book, but my intention is to talk about one theme, the theme of unity and division. And therefore, as we begin to explore these issues, I desire that you should be open-minded so that you begin to gain and learn more lessons in the social context as may have been portrayed by the writer. So, Ngungu wa Thiong'o, of course, the setting that he gives us is that of the rural Kenya, where there are two villages, and these two villages are of Kikuyu, known as Kameno and Maguyu. Now, these two villages, of course, they are sitting in Gikuyu. And why should they sit in Gikuyu? We understand that that's a setup that has been given, of course. Now, these two villages sit on two ridges. Now, I want you to begin first to follow exactly what we are talking about. We are talking about two villages, which is Kameno and Maguyu. And also these two villages, they are sitting on two ridges, okay? And on these two ridges, also, they are divided by Honia River. Now, that's where my interest is. If you begin to create a picture in your mind, you begin to see that, obvious, here we may be referring to a human being that, of course, is being shown or portrayed in the picture of these two villages that are standing. And of course, in these two villages, we are talking about two ridges. And in these two ridges, of course, we are talking about these villages being divided by Honia River. Now, all of us, we know so well how so important ridges are in the human society. How so important, of course, the river is in the human life. Now, Honia River, the name Honia itself means life. So Honia River is known for being a river that which gives life. Now, it's true, of course, that this river gives life because the people of Maguyu and Kameno were depending on this river for their livelihood. So, these villages in nature, they are antagonistic, okay, towards each other. But the river itself unites them and brings them together. And that's how, of course, they have used this river for, number one, the purposes of domestic water, or water for the purpose of use at home. And also, this river gives them also the agricultural benefits of it. So, even when these two villages of Kameno and Maguyu, even though they are not friends in any way, because they are sharing things different from each other, but what we begin to see is that these people are united by the river Honia. That's what unites them and brings them together. So much as they are separated, the differences of that which separates them appears also to be the same difference that brings them together. And in life it is true that the things that which may seem to separate us may be the things that which may be uniting us. And so the people of Maguyu and Kameno, though antagonistic towards each other, but we see that because of Honia River, they meet at one point to draw water from there for agricultural purposes and also for domestic purposes. Okay? Now, the beauty of life is that even sworn enemies, they will need each other at one point. That's one beauty of life that I've loved. You may have been sworn enemies and you have declared that you never talk to each other, you never meet eye to eye, but there's always one thing that which will unite you, whether by purpose, by necessity, by nature, but at least that thing will bring you together at one time and you have to sit on the table and discuss to resolve the conflicts. Okay? The other lesson, of course, that we may talk about in terms of unity and division is that what unites people can divide them, and the opposite is also very true. So, whatever it is in life that unites people, it can be the same thing that can divide them, and the same thing that can divide people, it is also the same thing that can unite them. So, as we see the people of Kameno and Maguyu, one thing that is so sure is that they are sharing different cultures. Of course, the people of Maguyu and Kameno, in one end they are Christians, and on another end they believe in traditions. And so they don't want to come together and believe, in one thing or share the commonalities. But yet we see that the river itself gives them importance, of course, to meet, because at one point they will come, those that believe in Christianity, they will come for baptism, and those that believe in traditionalism, they also come for their rituals, such as circumcision. That's where they will do their rituals from. So, what are some of the possible lessons that which we can get from the river between? Now, I must first begin to draw a distinct understanding of this book. The river itself is so important in our lives. Remember, all of us, we sprang from the river. All of us, we come from the river. And this river is a source of life. Have you not wondered how people in life, can talk and scandalize each other, okay? Based on tribe, based on, commonalities of anxiology, based on many things that you can talk about. But yet one thing unites us, and when we get to that thing, we never realize of things such as tribes, we never realize of things such as regionalism, we never realize of such things as it may be in terms of personalities and all those. We forget when we get to the river. When we are drinking from the river, we do not understand where we come from. Of course, the river has sustained us for many years, and it is the river that has united people, even when they seem to be divided. So the river becomes so important in our lives. What are some of the possible lessons that I've learned from this book? Number one, the river should be kept pure. This river that we are talking about must be kept pure and away from any contamination. Every single river must be kept pure, and it must also be kept away from contamination. Contaminating the river is contaminating generations, and contaminating generations is killing the generations. So the river must be kept pure and away from any contamination. Any attempt that which is in the context of contaminated river, it becomes a poison to the community, because people drink from the river. And so to allow humanity to continue in existence and live for many years, the river must be kept pure, and the river must be guided. Number two, all human beings have their source from the river. I think this point is so clear and we cannot argue about it. All human beings, whether king, whether slave, whether rich or poor, we all trace our source from the river. And the river has kept us for many years. Now imagine a world without a river. How could it appear? Because it is so clear in this case that this river has given us a source of life. Just like Honya River was giving the people of Kameno and Maguyu life, we also see that the river is so important in our lives. Number three, the river knows no tribe and knows no boundaries. Did you know that someone from America and someone from Africa can meet and can discuss matters of progress and can live together and begin to produce children? Okay? And they will not realize that the other one comes all the way from America, and this other one is an indigenous African, or an African and Chinese, or the Chinese and Americans. We have intermingled in many ways in this life because of the river. So the river becomes so important as it does not know any tribe, it does not know any region, it does not know any boundaries. The river has become the source of unity. Even though we might be divided in whatever the way, when we come to the river and we drink together and we produce forth fruits, we become, of course, united. Okay? So what divides us is again at the same time what brings us together. Number four, they that which hold the river must be faithful. They that which hold the river must be faithful. They must guard it from defilement. Like I've said earlier on, the river must be kept pure. When any poisonous substance is thrown in the river can be a source of death just like it is a source of life. The river can be a source of hatred just as it can be a source of happiness. The river can be, a source of commonality. So the river must be kept pure. They that which hold the river must be faithful and guided from all manner of defilement. Because when we allow the river to be defiled, people will die. And when people die, generations are destroyed. And so in this vein, we understand so well that the river is so important. Just like the people of Maguyu and Kemeno had different, and divergent views from each other. They could not see each other eye to eye, but one thing drew them closer and brought them together. That is the river. Have you not wondered, when you're understanding life, for example, let me bring a special example in Zambia. Towards elections, people would begin scandalizing each other based on tribals, based on regions, based on, ideologies. But yet, people forget that we come from the same source of the river. And the rivers that which we drink from, some of them might not have even sprung from our regions. Some of them may not even have sprung from our tribes. Some of them may not even have sprung from our religions. But yet we still drink from those rivers. And we forget at that point, when you are drinking from this river, that of course it is the same river that which comes from the source that you do not like, or that which you hate, or which you castigate in terms of regionalism and tribal. So at this point you understand that when it comes to drinking water, when it comes from agriculture, when it comes from anything else that which we need from the river, we forget of issues of tribalism, we forget of issues of regionalism, we forget of issues of religion. We begin to unite ourselves. So the river becomes very important, and this is why I'm in support of the ideas of this man, Ngungu wa Thiong'o, in writing The River Between. It is truly the river between, and it is the source of life, and the life that which we live. Thank you so much.